Hi, I'm Sean McCauley, and this is my answer to question number one. Um, so when an individual starts sprinting, it uses the anaerobic system, but specifically for the synthesis of the energy to be able to move and allow the muscles to contract. It uses the ATP and PCR system. There's only a few seconds worth of ATP stored in the body, and so there has to constantly be this resynthesization of ATP in the body in order to be able to continue having muscles contract. ATP is a molecule, adenosine triphosphate, and it's made up of one adenosine molecule and three phosphate molecules. Now, in between each of these molecules are bonds, and the bonds is where the energy is stored. In order for the energy to be released, the bonds need to be broken, and so that's where the enzyme creatine kinase comes in. Creatine kinase is the ACE is what signifies it as an enzyme, and so we're going to have this creatine kinase that comes in and snips the bond and releases that energy for you to use when you're sprinting, but it allows now this free-floating phosphate that's over here. It's going to be over here, and it's going to be phosphocreatine over here. It's going to bind with the creatine, and that's where creatine kinase comes in, the next enzyme in this step, in this process. Now what creatine kinase does is creatine kinase then, well, we have this free-floating phosphate, and now we have two phosphates and an adenosine molecule, which makes ADP, adenosine diphosphate. And so now we have adenosine diphosphate, phosphocreatine, creatine kinase. Creatine kinase is going to break the bond, releasing more energy between the phosphate and the creatine, and now it reattaches the free-floating phosphate back onto the ADP to create more ATP, and that moving it back is the enzyme ATP synthase, which is the enzyme that resynthesizes the building of ATP. And so that's how the whole system works. So we have ATP, it's broken apart by ATC, ACE, creating creatine kinase. Creatine kinase, ATP is broken apart by ATPase, creating ADP and phosphocreatine. Phosphocreatine kinase comes in, breaks the bond between phosphocreatine and between the creatine and the phosphate. ATP synthase reattaches that free-floating phosphate back to adenosine diphosphate to make ATP again. Sorry, got tied up on my words. This is the ATP PCR system, which is a system that we use during the short bouts of exercise and the really short periods of time that we're exercising at a really high level. Thanks.